Lord, look
Now I'm
at
in the Philippines.
yeah. Oh, well, you're somewhere beautiful right now with good weather, right?
It's always warm. Too warm
Yeah.
for me. I like the cold. What can I
Oh,
do?
well, I am so glad to have you here on the show. Um, what I do, my platform is about business. So when I saw your information and what you talk about, I know that many people are scared of debt, scared of credit. So when it comes to doing a business, that kind of ties people's hands because nobody wants to mess with credit cards or debt. So we're gonna dive in it and see what we can pull from you tonight. Okay. All right. So, what are the things that you say that can be very controversial and it's a bold statement? Like you say, credit card debt is not a debt. So, for people who are hearing that in the audience, they may be a little confused by what you mean when you say credit card debt is not a debt. So, could you kind of explain to that what you mean when you say that?
Absolutely. And thank you for having me.
Yeah.
The thing that divides me from everybody else is I've done this. It's not a
Mhm.
theory. This is what happened to me. So I'm an author and I wrote a book on health and healing. In about
Okay.
2004, I received a contract to an infomercial,
Mhm.
but we needed to test the market and find out what's the best strategy of how do we come across people. So I was booked on radio stations for about 6 months and I had to live on my credit cards. I
Mhm.
had three at a time. So one of the talents, he got in trouble with the FTC and they came down hard on the company and our contracts, the new talents were canceled. So I was left with $85,000 of credit card debt.
Wow.
Yeah. So that put me in a little tailspin because they were promising me I was going to make $100,000 a month.
Right.
So
Wow.
85,000
Was
was
nothing.
nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was going to be a very lucrative deal. So I was totally excited, and now I'm totally depressed for about a month. You can't even get out of bed. You go, how am I going to pay this 85,000? I have no way of doing that, and they're going to come after me, lawsuits, stuff, just like what you're saying.
Right.
So one morning I woke up and I remember my dad being a CPA, and I was studying to be a CPA, even though I never became one. I was the controller of the country club of Rancho Bernardo there in near San Diego, and I did the work of a CPA without the credential. So I woke up realizing one day that, wait a second, the bank does not have an invoice. I
Mm.
remember when I was very young, my first accounting job, the CPA put a finger right in my face and said, "If you pay from a statement, I'm going to fire you."
Oh,
And he was
wow.
very angry and
Mhm.
loud, and that's an impression you
Yes.
never forget because he said that you can only pay from an invoice and it can only come from an approved department head. So you look right here. If it's approved by a department head, you pay it. If it doesn't have that, you do not pay this invoice, no matter what you do. And obviously, never from a statement, because that's just a statement. It's an act of stating something. It's not
Right.
true. What is true is that invoice. So I realized the bank doesn't have an invoice. Then I remember back. See, I have a memory. That's all it is. I
Yeah.
remember reading a book in my accounting class. It was called Modern Money Mechanics, and it's put out by the Federal Reserve. And it talks what banks do to make loans is they accept your promissory note
Mhm.
first, then they write numbers into your checking account. And that's how they create inflation. That's how they create all this fiat money. So I knew I never signed a promissory note. And at the time, my father-in-law was an attorney and a judge. We had long discussions about fraud. Fraud undoes all contracts. And
Mhm.
so in your show notes, again, I'm a doubting Thomas, and I invite your listeners to doubt me too. Don't believe anything I have to say today. Go to the show links, check my links out, and you'll see the truth. But send this podcast to your CPA, your certified public accountant, or anyone who's had a class in accounting, and they will tell you I'm absolutely 100% correct. It's
Mhm.
not some wacky, weird sovereignty kind of bills of exchange or ways you can get out of it with Title 15. I don't know. I hear so much stuff. This is just sound banking principles. So I was watching a YouTube video back in the old days, and a guy was promoting going to federal court. He said the judges are so nice to you, they're so accommodating, they know you're pro se. I went, okay. So I filed 3 federal lawsuits in Los Angeles against the 3 banks. In my complaint, I laid out the crimes that they're committing and how I was asking for documentation and admissions, admit there is no debt, those kind of things. They had to say yes or
Right.
no to. And then there were questions, interrogatory. So I asked questions. That helps having the father-in-law be an attorney and a judge of how to draft this lawsuit. So it was done perfectly. And then we were setting up for depositions. And this is where a bank employee is going to have to swear that I have a debt and they have actual evidence of it. And
Wow.
that was coming up. So all of a sudden, the judge calls me into court. Okay, here I show up. This is unusual because normally you do your discovery, and that's the judge just wants to find out how you doing. Are we going to set
Right.
a trial
Yeah.
date, stuff like
Yeah.
that. But so he called me into court and he said, Mr. Patrick, do you have a credit card? Well, not really. It's a gift card. Pull your card out. Pull the card out. He says, what's it say on that card? Credit card. So you're telling me that's not a credit card? And so did you make charges? Well, not really. So it's my own money. How can it be with your own money? It's a loan, you idiot. Get out. So he threw out my 3 cases. So there I was in another tailspin. Here I'm going to be facing lawsuits, any additional because it's the attorney fees and all kind of interest and even worse than ever before. And then I looked at my credit report a month later and they were gone. All 3
Wow.
were gone off my credit report. And I did not receive a 1099-C. You see, a 1099-C is when a bank loans you money and you don't pay it back.
Hmm.
That is income, so they notify the IRS. Okay. Then they are able to take a tax deduction. Well, they never sent me a 1099-C because I said that in my pleading. If they did, I would file a 3949-A. You see, it's very helpful having a dad be a CPA because the IRS is part of my DNA for my
Right.
CPA.
Now let
So
me ask
this is
you
a
this.
yeah,
Is because I know this is something that happened then. Have banks not learned from this? Is this something that they still haven't switched up on or changed? Or people just don't
well,
know that they can confront banks like this?
I get asked that question often, and I'll give you this answer here. It's like a drug dealer. You're going to a drug
Okay.
dealer and you're going, it's not really a great thing to do to sell drugs to people.
Right,
Kids,
right,
it makes lives terrible. Why don't you become clean and why don't you clean this up and why don't you help people instead of destroying people? And a drug dealer might go, well, yeah, no, I don't think so. I like what I'm doing now.
right.
So you see, the banks, what they're doing is they're charging you $23.04 on average for a free checking account. And so if they have 1 million cardholders, they're bringing in $23 million a month. And I've done my calculation and I figure out 1/4 of all of their profit comes from the scheme. This is an illegal, this is a criminal act of defrauding you. So what you're getting is what I'm claiming is you're getting a free checking account, and I'll explain that in a bit. But
I
what
think
they're
I
doing
might
is charging
understand.
you $23
Okay.
on average. So this
Uh-huh.
is a money-making machine, and no one knows about it. And if you can think about this, I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not somebody phenomenal. I'm not. I'm just an accountant. I know how to count and I know how to remember. So I remember certain things, and I'm going, there must have been someone else who made the same proposal. And I think the banks are having you sign a non-disclosure. So when you say, why didn't
Wow.
everybody know about this? Well, people who do know, who do confront the bank, get it off their credit report only if they sign a non-disclosure. So
So
that's
they
why I think it
can't
is.
share the information with other people. Wow. Wow. So you mentioned that many credit cards are tied to what you call alleged debts. So how can someone tell if the balance they see is a real debt or if it's just a bank illusion. Like, how can somebody tell that?
Yeah, it's a very good question because this is critical. I am not saying get out of debt free. I'm not saying the responsibility to pay your debts is not there because of this crazy thing. No, 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 no. Let's talk about a real credit card. Okay.
Mhm.
You go into a tire store, you need tires, but you don't have the money. And you explain it to them. And they say, oh, well, why don't you fill out an in-store credit card?
Right.
You go, okay, and you're approved. Well, great. They put the tires on your car, they do the servicing, they do the balancing, all that work, and you drive away without paying. But you've promised to pay that invoice later. So the statement comes in the mail, and that's a true statement. They have an outstanding unpaid invoice, right?
Okay.
So that you have to pay. I am not saying you can get out of that. No, you were obligated. You took someone's property, you
Right.
took their service, you got gain, you were above better off than when you came in there, and you have to owe them the money because they have an invoice. The invoice shows the date, the
Got
tires.
okay.
See, there's
Yeah.
where we're going. You can see it
Yeah.
already. And there's taxes and there's shipping and there's
Mhm.
other things. So that's all I had to do is when I woke up one morning, is like the bank never sold me tires.
Mhm.
They never performed a service. So there is no invoice. So all you have to do is ask. Now, here's the thing that we're bottom line is about the word alleged. We watch the TV, we see a bank robbery, and they always say alleged bank robbery.
Mhm.
Even though the guy dropped his wallet, they pick it up, they see his name, they show you on television, this is the guy. They've always got to say alleged. So law is language, language is law. So if you say you have a debt, you've got a debt. You have to pay that. You go into court. You can't argue this at that point
Mhm.
because you're already agreeing that there's a debt.
Right.
All I'm asking you to do is add one word, alleged. Now, I'm differentiating myself from the bank issued alleged credit card debt and the store issued credit card, right? I'm always
Right.
going to be saying bank issued alleged credit card debt. Okay. So how do you know? Look on the back of your card of Walmart, Amazon, any store, department store. If there's nothing on the back there, that's a true credit card. If it says issued by Bank of America, Citibank, Wells Fargo, Bank of London, Bank of Tokyo, Bank of India, any country in the world, they're all doing the same scam. So that's what I've unveiled is this fraudulent act of what they're doing. They're
So
making you
if
think
it
you
says
have a
issued
debt, but you really don't.
issued from so and so, then that is the true credit card where you can say alleged debt.
Well, if it's a store, or it's a merchant, and it doesn't say issued by a bank, then it's alleged bank issued credit card.
Right.
Even though it might be like you might think of I'm trying to think of American Express or
Uh-huh.
Diners Club or something like that. If you look deeper into it, maybe they not say bank, but you find out that they actually are a bank. So if they're a bank, they never were a merchant. It's just stop and think about it. I am a customer. I go into a bank and they put tires on my car. Oh, banks are all about loans.
Right.
Okay, so that's where we go to the second argument. But before we can move that on, the banks could never issue a credit card because they never were a merchant to give you goods and services, and you promise to pay them back later, and they have an invoice. So that's been the lie that you have to, and that's if you
How
use their
how have they
language,
gotten
you're
away with
lost,
it
you're going
for
to lose.
how have they gotten away with this for so many years?
Well, think about my court case. I take the bank to court. We're going through the discovery process, and all of a sudden I'm called in by the judge. My father-in-law was, as I said, an attorney and a judge. And he explained to me the Supreme Court will rule differently based on the people's attitude at the
And what
time.
they say.
Because in 1898, the Supreme Court ruled that segregation is legal
Mhm.
because that's what people wanted. So the
Right.
Supreme Court only follows what the majority want to see happening or who's paying them.
Mm.
So now we know how many crooked judges there are in the whole system. That's why I kind of took a break. I took a break for about 10 years because of the corruption. I'm in court waiting for a court case to happen with one of my clients because I eventually got a charity, kind of longer story, but I was helping people get out of debt. Writing letters was not a problem. The low amounts, the bank never had a problem with the little lower amounts. It's the 20, 30, 50, 100,000 that they kind
Right.
of push back on until I started beating them in court. And then all of a sudden they backed up. But I'm sitting in court and I watch a person with a whole stack of paper walk into court, grab the court's stamp and start stamping all this paper and walks out. And it's like, oh my gosh, it was during the 2007 uh, crises, but these people, these companies were coming in, stamping court documents and walking out. I saw it. So the corruption was unbelievable. So yeah,
Wow.
you're asking, but again, it's 1/4 of their profits. They're not going to give this up. And all they're going to do is click and it's like a credit report. But the only thing I can understand about why doesn't everybody know about this is that they're signing a non-disclosure. So that's why they can't talk
Yeah.
about it. They got 100,000 wiped off. They
Yeah.
think it's still dead. Maybe they don't. I don't care. It's
Yeah.
off their credit report, and they
Yeah.
don't get a 1099-C. So that's the important thing.
So, do you have to go to court? Like for people who are listening and they may be looking at their credit cards now, is the only way to solve this is going through the court system?
Oh, no, no, no. You don't want to go to court. It's not the place to be. All right.
So tell
So
the
I
audience
know
if
I
they're
have.
looking at their credit cards and they see you, what should they do?
Mhm. This is what I do now. If you don't want to go to court, because when I was having the smaller amounts, I send a letter in. So a letter for the small amounts, it's no big deal. You won't have any problem. It's the larger amount. And my experience has been what's the right word, but being nice to them. I have been screwed by attorneys every time. They would lie to me. They would tell me, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. They would believe everything I had to say, and then just to get my retainer. So I have to kind of explain it. Uh, After I was successful with my eliminating my credit bank issued alleged credit card debt, a friend of mine gave me a charity, and it was a dormant charity, and so I turned it into a credit repair type of thing.
Mhm.
So some of these people had credit card debt, so I would write a letter to the bank saying, you know, this is not a debt, and take it off the credit report, and they would. So I was very popular. I had about 1,000 people who said, "Ah, this guy does a very good job. It's perfect." So for many years, I did that. The
Right.
higher amounts is when they push back.
Mhm.
So I would explain to them, you hire an attorney because you're an infant or an imbecile. Now, I'm not denigrating imbeciles because I had a double major in college as a abnormal psychology. So I spent time at Napa State Mental Hospital, not as a patient,
Oh,
but as a technician. So
clarify that,
I
Tommy.
have been with
Clarify.
crazy people. Yeah, I love crazy people. So they're my most wonderful people I ever have. So, but the attorney represents infants and imbeciles because you can't speak for yourself. And so I would explain it to people and I say, I'm here to help you. I can go into court with you. I just can't talk for you. This is
Right.
what you're going to say. But a few people were so scared they wouldn't do it. So I had
Oh,
to
wow.
hire an attorney. So
Wow.
then the attorney knew everything. We're going to court. We're at the court date. We're in the courtroom. And all of a sudden he looks at me and says, I can't do this. I'll look like an idiot. I have other clients. And
Yeah.
that's the problem. They have other clients. They can't come to court looking like this crazy argument. Because
Mm.
in my book, I have a scenario of a court scene, and that's what happened to me. Like the judge said, do you have a credit card? So the judge is going to say to the attorney, Mr. Attorney, do you have a credit card? What's he going to say?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you use a credit card?
Yeah.
Yes. You get a bill at the end of the month?
Yeah.
Yes. And if you don't pay it, what happens? They'll harass me and they'll call me into court maybe, and I'll be in front of you. Exactly. So, Mr. Attorney, I think you should be disbarred because you're deceiving this client and you're bringing a fraud to the court. You have a responsibility.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's going to take the cojones of a real attorney to
Yeah.
go, whoa, 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 wait 1 second. This client has the right to be in court, has the right to defend themselves. The judge will say, okay, let's see where this goes. Then you
Yeah.
bring in your expert CPA witness and you say to the witness, now, Mr. CPA, the judge asked me if I have a credit card. Is that true? No, you do not have a credit card. See, so but it would take a phenomenal attorney to do
Right.
this, and it's not going to look good to the other attorney and to the judge the next time he comes in and says, "Oh, you're the problem one, huh?" So
Yeah.
no, you don't want to go to court. So what you do is you act as if you did. Okay. So this is a secret. Uh-huh. So what you do is you can write a letter to the bank and it's very weak. Okay, that's fine. The second layer up is have your CPA write a letter to the bank saying that one, you don't have an invoice because an invoice has to have in the legal
Right,
terms
because the invoice is
of
not
the
a
accounting
statement is not
profession,
an invoice.
right, defines that we never pay from a statement, can go into all the detail of that. And since my client never signed a promissory note, it's impossible, it's illegal. You can't do this with the federal banking rules to issue someone a loan and not have them promise to pay. Now
Wow.
think of this. You you're a shareholder of a bank. Do you really want the bank to give your money to people who can't pay? Because we
Right.
see all these people who can't pay and
Yeah.
not to promise to pay them back. So when you give somebody something, it's called a gift. So so then what you so that's where you have that. Then and that's the second layer. If you want to go to the third layer, what you do is you have an attorney write a letter. Oh no, now you're talking $200 or $300 for a letter. No, there's a thing called Legal Shield, and it's $29 a month, and you don't have to do it the second month. Okay, so for $29, you can get an attorney to write the letter to the bank saying fraud undoes all contracts. Okay,
Wow.
and that's what you want. Now that's three layers. You want to go to a fourth layer, and that's what I suggest is to look like you filed a state civil lawsuit against the bank, just in the state, not federal.
Okay.
So the paperwork I have, it's really simple. And all it says is the pleading of your case. So you explain all the crimes they've committed. And if they issue you a 1099, what you will do in response to that, so that
Right.
everybody can read that, right? Then you have your discovery. You have your demand for production documents. Normally, you file a lawsuit and you wait, and then it takes a year or two to finally get through all this discovery. No, no, no. You want to show the bank exactly what's going to happen. If
Right.
they sue you, you countersue with all this. But if you file a lawsuit, they're in deep duty. Okay.
Right.
So in that, you're going to have your production of documents, which is discovery. You're asking for the the invoice. The second thing is interrogatories are questions, and there's also called admissions. But the best thing is the deposition. They
Mhm.
do not want to have a bank employee talking to you under oath because it's a total complete lie. Now they're going to have someone perjure themselves. They
Wow.
can't handle that. So that is a date set up about 10 days when you would expect them to respond. But again, you didn't file, you didn't spend any money with the court. There's no docket number.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the fourth layer. Now, if you want to top it off and make it great, is you file an injunction. See, if you if someone's bothering you, someone's calling you up, some company that says you owe us money, you know you have to owe us some money, and they're harassing you, you can go to court and tell the judge to have them stop. That's all you're asking to do. That's all these injunctions going on with all these federal things against Trump, and they're just saying stop. And that's what happens. They stop, right?
Right.
They
Yeah.
file the injunction. If it's accepted, Trump has got to stop. He
Yeah.
can't go forward. He's got to undo what the court has done, but it takes time. Okay. So this is the same thing. You're asking the judge to say, you're telling the judge, look, this company is bothering me. I want to see an invoice. I want to see a certified copy of the promissory note. And I want to have some affidavit by some live, because I have over the years found banks use dead people. They have
Oh,
used dead
wow.
people on affidavits. I know because I found out there's actually a dead person
Yeah.
signing all these documents. So they
Oh,
are total criminals. So
So
if
let
they
me ask
don't
you
provide
this.
that in 30 days, if they don't provide that in 30 days, then it's contempt of court and it stops everything.
So, Tommy, does the person, just in case somebody may be wondering, do they need to already be in like debt trouble, like where they have not been paying and it's already a debt on their credit cards, or can they just still be paying now and they see what you're saying and they're like, "Oh my God, I have one of these credit cards." Like, can they go through with this process even though they technically are not like in bad debt with the creditor?
Yes, yes, yes. This is an amazing story because now that we've kind of resolved the issue that the bank cannot be a credit card issuer, okay, now the argument is that they actually sent a loan out to you. So now you have this revolving credit line of credit, they call it. So again,
Right.
if you use their words, you're going to lose. So we have to use our words, okay?
Mhm.
So what has happened is the banks want you as a customer. They
Mhm.
have an advertising budget that they spend to get you as a customer. We see their ads on YouTube and all the different things. So, um, what they do also in the past, they would give you a toaster or a wall clock, okay, just to get you to come in as a customer. One time, a bank where I lived had an ad in the paper that said, "If you bring $25 into our bank and leave it there for 90 days, we will match it." So, what
Wow.
did I do? I took $25 of my money, put it into the bank, waited 91 days. It showed $50. I went to the bank, drew out $50 and closed the account. Now I have a question for you, Shika. Did I rip off the bank?
I would say no.
Did I? No. Did I steal from the bank?
No.
No. Was that immoral? Was that immoral for me to do?
I don't see it yet. I'm gonna have to
No.
go back and listen to this to make sure.
Did they really? And was that an immoral act? If they say, put $25 in 90 days, you'll we'll match it. It's your money. Okay, so I took the advantage. I
Yeah.
took advantage of the bank. Oh, poor, I'm such a poor person, terrible person for taking advantage of this nasty bankster. Okay, so there's a guy, it's my fourth link in your show notes, and there's a guy on YouTube that says, do this, and I made $361 so far. No,
Wow.
no, no. I'm saying do this for 25,000. Okay. You were given a $500 credit card, let's say, and the
Yeah.
word is given. That's the important word. You applied for a credit card. So think about this. If you apply for a loan and you're denied, do you still get the loan?
No.
No, you don't get the loan. They deny you. You go
Right.
away. But
Mhm.
if they approve you, then what you do is you go into the bank and you fill out loan documents. You have to prove that you can pay this loan back by some kind of evidence of income.
Mhm.
Now, think about this. The reason why is not the bank wants to do this, is if they go to court, the judges say, Bank, you took advantage of these people. They couldn't have paid you back in the first place. You're
Wow.
terrible people. So they have to have you prove you can pay this loan back. Then there's collateral. So
Yeah.
how can the shareholders allow their bank to be giving people money without any collateral? And that's why you have the house. That's why you
Yeah.
have the car. If you
Yeah.
don't pay, they take it back.
Right.
And if you have a personal loan, there might be something of value you put up. They take it away from you. They sell it legally. And if there's not enough, well, that's the way it goes. If there's more than what they have to pay that difference back. They don't get a gain from you by taking your property away from you. So that's the thing. And there's a credit report. You have to show some history of payment, and your
Right.
credit score determines your interest rate. But the last thing you sign is a promise to pay. If
Yeah.
you don't promise to pay, it can't be a loan.
Wow.
Hey, Yashika,
Yeah.
I'm going to loan you $100,000, but you know what? I'm just going to give it to you, and you'll
Right.
just have it as a gift. So a
Yeah.
gift is giving. So you applied for a credit card, you were approved, yay. And in the mail, they gave you. We always say gave. Notice that word. We
Yeah.
say they gave me a credit card. Well, that's called a gift card. It's disguised as a credit card, and there's a crime they're already starting with. So it's a gift card. So what'd you do with your gift card? You went to Home Depot and you bought a toilet. Let's say a golden throne. So you're walking out with this toilet, and the person at the door says, "Wait a second, did you pay for that?" And you have a receipt. Let me ask you a question. At the end of the month, are you going to get a statement from Home Depot that of the outstanding unpaid? And you already know, no, you paid. You have evidence of proof. The receipt is proof that you have to pay.
Yeah.
So was Home Depot paid? Well, of course they were paid
Mhm.
that night or the next day. By who? The bank. Well, where'd the bank get the money? From their advertising budget. $500. Think about this. They're making $23.04 on average. And at about 20, that's about 460 bucks. So in about 23 months, they made their money back. And now you pay for 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
That's where they're making the millions.
Wow.
Every time they have a million clients, they're bringing in 23 million a month. So
Now,
this is a money-making scheme.
does this work for just personal credit cards, or is this also should people who have business credit cards look into this as well with their business credit cards?
This is the best thing that you just said there is perfect because let's talk about a business. I'm talking about the little people who have a simple letter, make it more complicated, go into the lawsuit thing. They're going to run away because the bank an attorney is going to say, "Hey, boss, this is going
Mhm.
to take me 40 hours at 500 bucks. We're talking at 20,000 just to start."
Mhm.
And what this is going to lead into is the injunction against us. We don't have an invoice. We don't have a promissory note. We know it's all a big scam. So we can't let this out. So just click and it's off the credit report. Okay. But here is where you have a company that's about to go bankrupt and they
Mhm.
owe $100,000, what they think is debt. They still are saying debt.
Mhm.
Their board of directors, 10 of them, have maxed out their. See, you use the word max. That's
Mhm.
their language. If you use their language, you lose. So they maxed out their cards and they're looking at bankruptcy. All of them are looking at bankruptcy. Is what they put into this company. But if they didn't have that debt, they could be successful. Well, they find me through your podcast, and that's what we do. Their C their CFO, their chief financial officer, is most
Mhm.
likely a CPA. That's who I want to talk to. Have them read that chapter of my book. They're going to go, "Wow, I never thought of that. This
Right.
guy's right." So then they're going, "Well, I don't know about this." Their vice president is most likely an attorney who doesn't have other clients. It
Mhm.
won't matter if they go to court and he looks like an idiot. He will put his CFO on the stand and they've already got it all worked out. So this would be perfect for them. So that's
Awesome.
what the attorney does. I fill out all the paperwork, send it to the attorney for them to go through. I don't like this. I like that. They're a paid attorney. They're not smarter than me, so they can fix it the way they want it. And
Yeah.
so, but I've had other attorneys send me what they sent, so it's always being improved. So it's always being very good. So
Well,
you send that into the registered agent. That's the person who
yes.
accepts the lawsuits. Okay, but
Okay.
there is no filing. There's no docket number. So it's dropped onto them. They pass it over to the bank attorney. The attorney's going to go, "Oh my God, this is." And the first thing the attorney does is call the other attorney to say, "What do you want?" I wanted the clicked offer business credit card report, and I want my 10 people and their family members and their extended family members. You can have quite a list.
Yeah.
I want them all to be clicked, and it's off the credit report, and we promise to not say anything. And that's what they're going to say. Yes, we're going to send you an NDA. You sign this, and we'll wipe off 10. It's not debt.
Mhm.
Okay. So what has happened is this. When you got your gift card, remember you got to say our words
That
because
audience.
law is language and
Yes.
language is law.
Yeah.
So you got your gift card. I went and spent my gift card. You were a good person. You didn't know about this. You were lied to and deceived. Okay. So that's being a victim. So now you, as a victim, have sent $500 of your own money to the bank, right? When when you have no money and you go to the bank, you want to come out with money and hopefully not without a gun, so
Right.
you hope there's a loan. Okay. So you come up with a loan. Now, when you take money and put it into the bank, that's a loan to the bank. This is totally crazy thinking, but that's why I have the first link is to a legal website that
Mhm.
explains exactly what's happening. You do not make deposits. What you're doing is you're loaning money to the bank. The bank is only about loans. So you sent that $500 that you bought that toilet thinking you
Mhm.
had a bill, so you mailed it off to them. Now, when you have a normal checking account, it comes in a mail, now email, and you don't even look at it, I know, but we used to look at it and balance our checkbook and stuff like that. But is that a bill? No, it's the beginning statement, your deposits, and your
Right.
checks you wrote, and the debit cards that you use. So it's not a bill, but you think it's a bill because they say if you don't deposit money in your checking account, your free checking account, we're going to charge you interest. There's the
Mhm.
crime. So what you do is then so yeah, so the I'm trying to think of where I lost my train of thought here. It's the so it's a checking account is what you have done. So that's what you have done. Every subsequent purchase that you have made has been with your own money.
Mhm.
You took $500, put it into the bank as a loan to the bank. As you used it with your debit card. Again, it's language. When it
Yeah.
first came, it's a gift card, even though it says credit card on it. It's not. That's their lie. It then once you pay, put money into the bank, it now becomes a debit card. Okay.
Wow.
So with a debit card, you make purchases. At the end of the month, you see your statement of what you made. Now,
Yes.
here's the thing. If you don't take your hard-earned money and put it back into the bank, they charge you interest. And
Mhm.
that's how they're making on average
Mhm.
$23.04 on a free checking account. So all you have to do is write a letter asking them to close your free checking account associated with that card, and it will happen. Because what I'm talking about is sound banking, well, unsound banking procedures, but I'm talking about sound accounting principles.
Mhm.
And it works anywhere in the world.
Right. Well, look, our
So
time has like gone by so quick. But Tommy, for those who are going to hear this and they're going to have questions, how can they come and find you, follow you on social media? Put a plug for the people so they can know how to find you.
it'll be in the show notes, but Tommy A. Kilpatrick is
Mhm.
on Facebook, and I have an email there. And so I offer a free 15-minute consultation. If you take me up on that, I will send you my $69 book for free. So all I want you to do is get out of debt. I want more people to know. Yeah, I'll give the book away. I'm not in it. I'm here in the Philippines trying to help people here learn about how to build dome houses with bamboo, vertical gardening, and I'm be opening up pain relief clinics here in the Philippines for the people. So some of the money that comes from Amazon, that's where it's going to go. So I'm retired. I've got plenty of money. I'm fine. So I'm not looking for a buck.
Well, Tommy, I am. This is. I'm gonna go back and listen because I have to take notes myself, and I need to check my own credit cards. Look, it has been great having you on the show, and we just appreciate you for sharing your knowledge and just giving us something to truly think about personally and on the business side as well. And audience, take note and go out and support Tommy and get all the knowledge you can. Until next time, see you later. All right, Tommy, it was great